Alright, welcome to vlog number 2. So I just got back from work this Friday, so I just got back from work. It's been raining most of today and probably most of, I think all of tonight. So looking forward to my hike tomorrow, which is Dunsop Bridge. It's in the forest of Bowland, which is an hour from here. It's the geographic center of Britain. And it's also one of the wettest places. I think it's the wettest places recorded in Britain or in the UK. So that's what it says on the description from the university's hiking club. So I'm going with the hiking club tomorrow. I managed to get a ticket. And I think 28 hours going tomorrow in various modes of transport. So the last hike I did with the hiking club, that was a bit unexpected. It's very difficult. We went up Blencathra, which is in the Lake District. It was really tough. I was both underprepared and and also wasn't expecting the conditions to be so harsh. So it was negative degrees Celsius, and it was very strong 60-70 winds. It was really tough going up Blencathra, and but beautiful views, great team of people who waited for me as well. I was probably the last in the team, and and there were some people who also got a little bit tired, so we formed a little group that were behind, and ones that skipped one or two wind rides. So that was so Blencathra was hard and was also raining. I was underprepared for that, and the second thing was I overestimated my abilities. So hikes in Australia, generally we don't have that much elevation. You kind of go up in a zigzag. This time with this group, at least, it's sort of a straight hike up. And it was just elevation, and that was really difficult. So the last I did Blencathra, that was difficult, and I was also underprepared, especially in terms of gear. So I was only using my backpack, which I thought that was good enough. So this time around, I bought a proper hiking backpack with some support on for the waist. There's a waist strap or hip strap, and so I went down to Manchester last weekend to get fitted, but also to order. And if they had it in store, I would have gotten it then, but they didn't have it in store. So what they did was they shipped it to me. It's good to know if you're a student that Cotswold Outdoor has a 10% discount. So mention you're a student and flash your ID. So that's good to know. So what I got. So I took this home at the post office, and it was a good sign that it's only this big and it wasn't too heavy, because this is the backpack. Yeah, so I ordered the Talon 30 Pro, as you can see there. Talon 30 Pro, and I thought it was 30 liters was a good size as well. This was smaller than the original Talon. I did like the color as well, and it has this support at the back. So, and it also has this way you could rest on your hips. To distribute the weight a bit more, and it has these straps to pull it in, so it rests on your back a bit more. So yeah, I thought this was good. This was pretty expensive. I got it at £175, and it has all the bells and whistles. So let's see. So just unstrapping this. Yep. So unstrapping this. And then, so it has a slot for the hydration pack, which is still in the bag. And it has things like bike helmet. For the bike helmet, if you want to attach your bike helmet on it, you can put bike lights here. It has space for tracking poles. Yep. And so this was much better. I mean, I run quite hot when I hike, and this is good to cool me down. Yeah, so I thought, so let's see how this performs tomorrow. I have not yet, so this is my first trial run with the backpack. So I'll see how it looks like when it's filled up, when I manage to fill it up tomorrow, before I leave. But yeah, it's everything you need. It feels nice and sturdy as well. Yeah, so the hiking group likes people to be prepared as well. So yeah, so this is what I will going with tomorrow. So it's going to be expecting some bit of wet weather, so I have to carry some stuff. So I bought a 3-liter hydration pack. So it's 3 liters, and so the justification of this, you know, I could have bought a 1 or 2 liter, but the thing is, you know, you can just fill it as much as you want, right? So, and if you're going for a longer hike, you can actually fill it up to 3 liters. So that was the justification of buying this. So altogether, I think was around £200 to get this kit together. Yeah, so looks very cool. I've not actually seen this in the shop because it didn't have stock. But so I got measured with something with a similar back length. And I just ordered it. So it's my first time looking at it. It looks really cool. So I also brought back some stuff from Melbourne that I bought from Kathmandu. Of course, they're not sponsoring me for this video, but I always found Kathmandu equipment to be of good quality, but also at a good price point. So of course they are really, you know, there are brands that are much high quality, but you know, that's a lot more expensive. I really like this pocketed series they have. So this is a men's pocketed rain jacket. So what I mean by pocketed is it falls into its own pocket. So I got one here that's lightweight. I also got the pants. I brought back a hat, but I don't think I'll need it tomorrow. Maybe I'll use it. I got hiking poles for you know, going uphill and also going downhill. And yeah, you know, I brought back things like I got this off the internet really cheaply from Amazon, I think. But this was really cool. Solar charging for your devices. But I probably won't need this. It's gonna be a bit wet tomorrow. So that's my planning for tomorrow's trip. So we'll see how I go tomorrow. So shoot one bit for the morning and also after the hike the next day probably, just to see how I went. Yeah, looking forward. So the weather's been getting a bit warmer. Here in Lancaster, it's still a bit wet as usual. But yeah, you know, if I don't go with the hiking club, with my new gear, I'm happy to just jump on a train and go to nearby hikes. The Lake District is only an hour away, and from there I can jump on a bus and to go onto a different area of the Lake District, and you know, spend a night maybe, or so, you know, this 30-liter backpack, it's enough to hold you know, things for an overnight, but I can push it a few days, I think, if I don't bring food. So overall, yeah, so I'll see you then tomorrow. Hey, good morning. All right, so I'm ready for a hike. I think that's within about 5 minutes to meet at Dunsop Square to get picked up. Yeah, so this is my backpack for today, fully packed. It's quite big because I have also the drone in here. Just you know, looks like a nice day to fly the drone. And yeah, so backpack's a bit heavier than I expected. Yeah, it's quite a I just brought the bare minimal. I even took out the walking sticks. I don't think I need it today, but we'll see if I regret that later. But yeah, so this is the backpack. Looks like it fits fine. Yeah, so yep, this is how it looks like. Yep, and I just want to show. Also, another thing I bought was gaiters. So this will stop the stones from going to the shoes. Also, my feet from bottom of my feet from getting wet. So I do expect it to be quite boggy. I got this also installed, the hydration pack. Yep, so let's see how I go today. Alright, see you later. So it's Sunday. It's the next day after a long day yesterday, which I went for a hike in the morning till the evening. So and then I went to the pub. So I went out around 8-ish, and I only got back after midnight, just after midnight. And yeah, and the hike was quite long. It's from 11 a.m. till about 6 p.m. It was a foggy morning, but eventually it cleared up. So I arrived at Dalton Square on time to be picked up, and I met the group that was there also waiting to be picked up. It was a rough start to the morning. There were some delays with the transport, but eventually we were on our way. I rode with Jack, who drove an MX-5, so it was a nice day as well. For the top to be down. Nice drive through the country, through some small villages. We overtook the minibus, so eventually we were the first to arrive. And I decided to take the drone up while waiting. As you can see, there's a bridge that goes over the river that's called Dunsop Bridge, and then you get the forest of Bowland behind it. Yeah, you can see it's all green, farms mostly with sheep, and it's just green, and it's beautiful weather, And then when I saw people arriving, I took it back down. Two routes were planned for today. One was a very long route with Joel, and the easier one with Ellie that just goes along the water through the river. Yeah, so the hike started through the main road, and it was a bit weird because there were cars passing by. There were also bikes. And then eventually reached the start of the trail. Weather stayed great for most of the time, and I made some new friends along the way. I felt a bit old as well at some points, hanging out with all the first years. I often joke with them if someone asks me what year I'm in. It seems to be the typical question. And I would be, I'm in my 11th year. And they go like, what? And, but it was nice overall. Starting out, walking through, I think it's through the Trough of Bowland, walking along the rivers, and there were, rivers meeting and everything. And about an hour and a half later, we stopped for some snacks or lunch, and then then we started to walk up the terrain. This is where the elevation begins. So this is where I start to struggle, and the path was also very difficult to walk. Lots of the paths were very narrow and wet. I was also wearing shorts. Some of my legs were super dirty as well, brushing against the vegetation. And then once on top, the landscape was became very wet and boggy because the water doesn't run down as quickly or run down at all. And there were a lot of zigzagging to avoid stepping into knee-high water. So you kind of find good place to step. So that added to the distance. Eventually, we reach our destination. I think it is called Snape Fell, I think. All I know is the destination was 500 meters elevation, and looking at the map, that looks about right. And once we got there, this was a longer stop, and then some people had lunch. And then, but because I already ate at the last stop, I took out the drone to have a couple of shots, but it was pretty windy, and then we were on our way again. So we took a slightly different route down, and this time it was also very boggy. There was a bit of nice paths along the way, and then I think we went to another fell, and before we started to go down, and disconnected, and this path will take us to the main road, and we'll walk back to the main road that we took earlier. So it's kind of doing a loop, but slightly different way back. So when I was going down, I found that it was quite steep going down, and with this, your toes would ram against the front of your boot, and this will start to hurt for a while. All your weight will just be on your toes. So, but yeah, this took us to through some farms with some sheep. So sheep was very close to us, and they all had babies as well, as this was spring. Eventually going downhill, my toes started to hurt. So I decided to just run down the farms, and then eventually I got onto some flat road, and that was nice. And then it took us back along the river, and then to the main road. I was already behind at this point, most of the way down, so I decided to stop filming. And then we got back to the car park at about 6. It was very quiet. And then we made our way back to Lancaster. And this was quite good timing, as this gave me enough time to head back home, shower, and then head to the White Cross to have dinner. At this point, I was also very hungry. I finished 2 liters of water along the walk. And I also was very hungry. I didn't bring enough food, so I brought a sandwich, but I need to bring a little bit more snacks next time. Also have some apples that I finished. So more food if I'm going for a long hike next time. But eventually, a good day, felt very productive. Had a good time, and had a well-deserved glass of Coke with ice at the pub, but also a pint of beer. And I had fish and chips as well for dinner. That was good. Overall a good day. Felt very productive. At times questioned why I was doing this, but it feels good to be present in the moment, walking just walking in the wilderness. So anyway, I don't know when I'll do another hike with the group, but this is only my second hike with the hiking club, and let's see whether I can get tickets for the rest of because seats are limited, so I have to buy a ticket, and if I manage to get a ticket, then I'll go along. Anyway, yeah, so that was hiking. This is my hiking adventure so far in the UK. Hopefully I would do a little bit more in the Lake District where the weather's nice. And yeah, so I also decided if I don't get a ticket, I'll just go on my own, which I can do at my own pace. I got all the gear I need, I think, and I can even do overnight trips if I have to. You know, stay at a hostel and then just walk back the next day and catch the train. So this was good overall. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, then it's the people that makes it nice as well. Just going around with them. Yeah, they're very knowledgeable, and most of them are quite experienced. So anyway, till next time, I'll see you then.